that has ever been told. The truth that we find in the Bible, in the story of the Bible, all the way through, of God's love, of our rejection of it, of God's unrelenting love, and so he comes into our world to rescue us and restore us. Will we accept it? And will we tell others about it? That's the question that we ask. So, if this is true, this is our true story, and we believe, if we are Christians, that this is the truth, and we believe that therefore we should accept it and tell other people about it. The Bible has some things to say to us about how we do that. Has some things to say to us about the way we go about telling other people this truth, this story, which is good news for all the world. And the first way that we can do that is by to know that we are not too young. Because it's hard, isn't it, to tell other people about Jesus, but we're never too young to tell other people about Jesus. But in the same way, we're never too old to tell people about Jesus as well. Phil, you should have some slides that go with this. There's 3 of them. Fantastic. You're not too young and you're not too old to tell people about Jesus. There was a guy in the Bible called Jeremiah. He's one of my favorite people in the Bible because I feel like him sometimes. He's kind of known as the grumpy prophet. And I feel grumpy at times. But he does get on and tell people about good news, the good news of God and his rescue plan. And Jeremiah says to God, right at the beginning of his story, he says, I'm too young. I can't do this. I haven't got what it takes to tell people about you. Find somebody else that can do it. But God says, no, you are exactly the person I want to tell people about me. So you're not too young. The second thing that it's good for us to remember when telling people this story, this good news story, is that it's good for us to stay humble and kind when we tell this story. Go on to our next slide, if that's okay. Always stay humble and kind. There's a story that you can read about in Luke's Gospel. In Luke chapter 4, and Jesus has just been up into the temple and he's told people about his good news plan, his mission to reveal God's love and rescue plan to the world. And then it says, all spoke well of him and were amazed at the gracious words that came from his lips. Isn't this Joseph's son? They asked. They thought that Jesus had spoken with great humility and kindness, even though they recognized that what he said was true and right. It's good for us to follow Jesus' example when we speak to others about him, to be humble and kind in the way that we do that. And in that little verse from the Bible, did we notice that little phrase, isn't this Joseph's son? You know, I was thinking about that, and I was thinking they obviously thought something about Joseph. And I think that they might have thought Joseph was humble and kind. That was his reputation, I think. And I think that Jesus perhaps also demonstrated that humility and kindness. Maybe even Jesus had picked up some of that humility and kindness from Joseph's example as well as he had grown up. And obviously we know that Joseph was a carpenter, and Jesus had been the same as well, a builder and a carpenter. And perhaps they thought that was rather a humble thing to do. But sometimes things that are humble and lowly show us really important things as well. And then finally, we can tell people about Jesus with genuine love, to love well. It says in the Bible in 1 Corinthians and chapter 13 that we can, when we tell people about God, be a bit like a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. Larry, can we have a clanging cymbal? Well, it's got to sound really bad, hasn't it? That sounds quite good. But a clanging cymbal or a resounding gong. And we don't want to do that. Actually, it says in 1 Corinthians 13 that we should love people with a God-given love. And when we do that, what we say to them, the truth that we say to them about Jesus, will be received by them. And they'll know that it's spoken in love as well. We're going to pray now, and Laura's going to help me to do that as well. So I'm going to invite us to stand up, because you've been sitting down for too long, haven't you? You need to stand up. Somebody was saying to me, Laura, this week, that sitting is the new smoking. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but we shouldn't sit down for too long. And so we're gonna pray whilst we're standing up. And what we're going to pray for, first of all,